As we inch closer to Halloween Horror Nights, we see that not everything has been announced. Typically around this time of year, we have at least more than half of the event announced, but this leads me to one speculation, and it's one that I thought of, believe it or not, just a few days ago. So, hear me out. What if one of the original houses this year is a type of spin on what they did with Slaughter Sinema a few years back? Now, what I'm saying is not a direct sequel to a Slaughter Sinema house. However, it is taking a individual thing that was in that haunted house and made it its own haunted house. For example, in Slaughter Sinema, we had Attack of the Swamp Yeti, and then the following year we had Yeti Terror of the Yukon. And I know that those two aren't directly tied into each other. However, the implications were there with the two houses, both featuring Yetis, and it technically just being the foreseeable sequel to Slaughter Sinema. Now, why am I bringing this up? Why do I talk about Slaughter Sinema if I'm not going to give you a Slaughter Sinema sequel? Well, let's take that same exact logic that we got from Slaughter Sinema's sequel, quote unquote, and put it towards Case Files, which was a house that was very similar to Slaughter Sinema, in which it was different stories told within different rooms. Now, if they did this with Slaughter Sinema, why wouldn't they do it with Case Files? Now, if you either didn't attend the event last year or don't really remember this house too well, let me just catch you up to speed on everything. Case Files Unearthed was a house featured at HHN 30, and it revolved around Boris Shuster, a private investigator from New York and a core founder of Legendary Truth, The Collective. And you step right into Boris's novelizations of his paranormal occurrences, and there are a total of 9 of these. Now, with there being 9, I'm not going to discuss every single one. I have chosen 3 of these, and I'm going to break them down and say how they more or less could become a haunted house at Horror Nights. Now, the first one here is going to be something that is very simple and straight and to the point, very easy to talk about. It is the murder by mannequins. Now, this can translate so well to its own individual haunted house. However, the general public, I don't know how they'll feel about this. It's just a room full of mannequins, a consistent room full of mannequins. But if you think about it, it's usually the scariest room in any haunted house that you go into, because the fear of not knowing who is the real person is probably the scariest thing out there, and you can't tell me otherwise. And now coming in at number 2, we have Massacre at the Museum. And I feel like if they take this concept and turn it into a full-fledged haunted house, the scenery in here would just be amazing. They can either make this like some kind of mystery, or they can really expand the lore and make you think that the museum itself has been run by corrupt aliens, cryptids, whatever you want to think of. They can truly execute a fantastic house, and the setting is super simple. It's a museum. You can make it based on anything. There could be anything on display on this museum, and it could be cursed. Think of like Night of the Museum, but as a haunted house where the things come to life at night and attack you. And now, my third and final selection. This was actually the main reason I made this video, believe it or not. This was the concept that I had, and this is what I want to see. Imagine you walk into a vampire or demonic themed speakeasy and things just go haywire. It's ran by vampires. Imagine From Dusk Till Dawn, but taken as an original. It can be done so well. It can be perfectly executed. It can be a mainly female cast, and honestly, houses of that nature blow my mind every single time. If you look at Bride of Frankenstein Lives from last year, or Revenge of the Tooth Fairy, both of those were predominantly female cast, and they dominated it night in and night out. But like I was saying, a vampire-themed speakeasy would be so cool. We have yet to get a vampire-themed haunted house since HHN 24, when we had From Dusk Till Dawn and Dracula Untold. I think it's about time that vampires, not so much Dracula, get their own love in something that isn't a scare zone like Vamp 55 or Vamp 85. I think it's finally time for them to get their own haunted house. And well, those are the 3 haunted houses that I came up with when thinking of Case Files Unearthed. I want to know what you guys think of these. Do you guys like these 3 concepts? Do you guys think one of the other concepts would work out better as its own haunted house? Or would you rather see Boris come back in general? Now, we did get confirmation that Boris is an icon from Mike Aiello at the panel that they did at Spooky Empire. So that's pretty cool to know that he's an icon, and we potentially will see him again. So with all of that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Comment down below what you guys want to see at Horror Nights this year. This is mainly my speculation towards this year. This might be my last official speculation video. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Check out these videos that are on the screen. Stay excellent, my dudes.